Well, hello everyone. Thank you everyone so much for coming to this class. In all honesty, this is I cannot take credit for this class. I am simply a mouthpiece for the presentation. The information was put together by and reviewed with me by Radiant Steph Roth and Sir Leof Morgan de Junshin. And special thanks to Grizz Velis for putting together the pictures for this presentation. We're going to cover a few things. We're going to cover, it's all about volunteering, this presentation. So we're going to talk about all those different types of ways you can volunteer in the kingdom, the things that I like about volunteering in the kingdom, why it's important, why it's fun. And I'm going to answer, there's one portion where there's one slide where I'm going to accept questions right afterwards, but for the most part, I'm going to save most questions for the end. So let's get into it. So our first slide here. Yeah, I guess I already did this. We're going to go over events. We're going to go over monarchy positions, non-monarchy positions, the board of directors, and interstitial volunteering. And look at Dakota, it's you. All right. So first off, events. Typically, when we're talking about events, we're talking about two different categories. We're talking about kingdom level events and park level events. At any level, events are an opportunity to be a leader within both the business and social sides of Amtgard. It involves a number of months of pre-planning for a weekend of fun. And an example of a kingdom event would be something like Kingdom Summer Mid-Rain, KSM, Yule, what we're doing right now, except that this is just the online portion. Spring Coronation, formerly known as Feast of Fools, or Fall Coronation, formerly known as Feast of the Dead. And then park level events would be things like the barbecue beatdown over at Bandit Flats East, or the Bash and Splash at Blackthorn, the Windhaven barbecue, park campouts. I know RSS has done a park campout before. Not technically an event, it's more just like a tournament, but Crystal Clash is also an event, a park event-like type thing. So yeah, regardless, if you're doing park or kingdom level events, you're going to have typically you're going to have a crat team, and this is one of the major ways you can seek out volunteering in the kingdom. Every event is going to have a crat team, and depending on how the autocrat wants to structure everything, it's most likely based on tradition, it's most likely going to look something like this layout. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all of these roles that you might see on an event crat team, and then afterwards I'm going to take a couple questions about any other roles in particular, and I'm also going to tell you what you can do in order to start your volunteering journey if you are interested in becoming a crat for an event, because it's a lot of work, depending on the position, but there are some that are easy to start off in than others. But volunteering is all about doing a little thing here, a little thing there, and building your skill set and teaching other people that skill set, and growing with the community and helping it flourish. So let's get into some of these roles for event bids. First, we have the autocrat. I should, where did I put that list of crats? I'll go over that afterwards. So first we have the autocrat. The autocrat is your project manager and organizer. They are the face of the event, essentially. They are the person who originally had typically they are the person who originally had the idea to run a specific event or to bid for a specific event. A year in advance of an event, they will gather up and put their feelers out for potential people to join their crat team. And they're the ones that communicates with the event committee, gets the bid for an event, organizes people leading up to the event, make sure everyone is cooperating well, make sure everyone is living up to performing to a certain standard or performing to the expectations they have set, stuff like that. The Warcrat is my favorite position. It's the position that I have the most experience with. They are they're the go-to person for battle games. They're the person who designs battle along with their war team. They typically have a war team of about 3 to 6 people. all people who are experienced reaving typically, or experienced battle game designers. They're the people who are going to be designing battle games, running battle games, explaining how the battle games work, gathering all the battle gamers together to do it. Um, they'll be the one in charge of creating event-specific game mechanics, and they coordinate with the roleplay team to see if there's any like theme-specific mechanics that's going to be happening throughout the event. But yeah, if you're interested in running battle games at an event, battle game design, or just reaving, then talking to your events warcrat or talking to figuring out how to become a warcrat is a great place to start. Next, we have the Hypecrat. The Hypecrat is your marketing person. I'm sure everyone here has seen one or two posts from Grizz leading up to this event, expressing all of the or displaying all of the lovely features that this event will cover or contain. And they get people excited. They get people hyped up for the event, but they also, most importantly, spread sometimes not only guidelines for the event, so that everyone goes in with certain expectations. They're setting expectations for the event, but they're also making sure people pre-register for the event, which is immensely valuable information for anyone running an event. Next, we have the Feastcrat. They are your meal person. Obviously, they are in charge of food. They are in charge of spending their budget, which can range anywhere between $200 and $700, depending on how many meals that they have decided to make that event. They are also in charge of making sure there is at least one ServSafe certified person in each kitchen at an event. So if you like cooking, if you like making a menu, if you like praying for volunteers to help you cook, then Feastcrat's for you. Next, we have the MedSec, medical security crat. They're the person who is your go-to first aid person. First of all, they usually have a first aid kit on them, and hopefully have some sort of typically have some sort of CPR training or first aid training. They are the person that cares for injuries, like firsthand cares for injuries and decides if 911 needs to be called for an emergency or an ambulance needs to be called, and the person who cares for injuries in the meantime. On the security side of things, they are responsible for doing wristband checks, making sure everyone has a wristband when they're signing in, making sure everyone is practicing responsible alcohol consumption, and as well as making sure kids are staying with their parents, or at least kids have a guardian near them. Next, we have the regent or ANS person. Typically, events will have an ANS competition of some sort. It's a great opportunity to hold them. And typically they will be run by the regent, organized by the regent. Otherwise, the regent is otherwise responsible for delegating that task and making sure an ANS competition happens. They'll coordinate with the scheduling of the event. They'll get judges. They'll get last minute judges. They will make sure rules are posted ahead of time, and answer any questions leading up to the event for an ANS competition. Next, we have the Trollcrat. This is called a couple different things in other kingdoms, or this can also be referred to as Gatecrat or Gate Team or just Gate in other kingdoms, but in our kingdom we call it Troll because you pay the toll. They're responsible for tickets and sign-in. They're hopefully the first person you as a guest or you as an attendee are seeing on an event site. If you haven't, even if you pre-register, you go to Troll and you get your wristband, ID checks, responsible for vaccination checking, stuff like that. They're also responsible for keeping a record of what classes people sign in as, and in my opinion, probably has the most commitment, commitment for as far as work at the event, because unless you have a troll schedule set up where you can get relief, typically our trollcrats stay at the troll table the entire event. So a great way to volunteer is giving your trollcrat a break and taking over the troll table for a little bit. Next, we have the vendorcrat. The vendorcrat is responsible for organizing vendors at an event if vendors are present. Not only are they the go-to person for communicating with vendors and letting vendors out there know that vending at an event is an option, but they also are there to ensure best they can that there's not too much overlap in between vendor wares. For example, if there were two garb vendors, we've had we've had vendors that both sell garb before, but this is more of like if there's two vendors that only sell garb, or if there's three vendors that only sell garb, and that's probably not the best for the event, and it's also not best for their business. So making sure that all runs smoothly is really important. Um, Another thing that you might not know is that they are also responsible for ensuring that properly licensed that if there's licensed products or if there's products that require licensing to sell, then those are properly licensed as well. Next, we have the Decocrat and their RP Crat or Roleplay Crat. They work kind of hand in hand. Typically, events will have a theme. Not all. It's not uncommon for an event to not have a theme. I think our first event back from COVID was just like, we're back. Let's have an event. But typically an event will have a theme, like the Dwarven games or we've done a Magic themed event, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The Decocrat is responsible for bringing that theme to life visually. Props for battle games, signs, posters, decorations for interiors, stuff like that. Anything that they can do to make it feel like a LARP is lovely. So if you're someone who likes design, likes decorating, likes creating things, then Decocrat's for sure for you. The Roleplay Crat, on the other hand, I guess not on the other hand, very same hand, is also responsible for bringing a theme to life through story, through song, through roleplay scenes, through unique mechanics, in combat or out of combat. A lot of times, the roleplay cat will do some sort of coordination with the war team. Like I said before, if there are any theme-specific or event-specific mechanics that bleed in and out of combat, I know we've done that in the past with like the Pirates Guild at last KSM. And they also support roleplay in general. So they give avenues for roleplay. They try out new concepts to get people to roleplay, incentivizing roleplay, stuff like that. Anything to again encourage the roleplay part of the live action roleplay. Next is the Hydrocrat and the Trash Crat or Cleanup Crat. Hydrocrat is what it says on the tin. They are there to make sure that all of our people moving around and sweating stay hydrated through making sure that water is readily available. But sometimes we'll also do like a cool down station or like a mister or something like that. I've seen anything to make sure people aren't, especially in KSM and like the hotter events, making sure people aren't overheating and making sure people are properly hydrated. Even in those winter events too, hydration is super important. And on that note, I'm going to take a sip of water. Okay. Finally, we have the Trash Crat. Person who I have infinite appreciation for. Our go-to trash crat, who prefers the name Trash Crat, Hank the Tank or Colin Alexander, has been our go-to trash crat for a good amount of our events. And that is a job that I immensely appreciate, because not only does it involve staying late after the event and making sure everything gets cleaned up and making sure everything gets put back better than the way we found it. But they're also responsible for emptying trash cans like throughout the event or whenever they can, and that's a big commitment, and it's something that I infinitely appreciate. I want to ask all of you a question now. Is there, and I encourage you to unmute and ask on voice. Do you have any other questions about these crat positions? Or have you seen any, or have you been to events that have had any other crat positions? The floor is open. Going once. Any questions? Going twice. All right, cool. No questions. All right, moving on. We'll go to other types of volunteering at events. At events specifically, there's so many other opportunities besides cratting for volunteering. And that can go as that can be something as small as helping pick up trash, to something as big as briefing a battle game or ANS judging. Um, uh, this event we have the amazing auction that's being run. That's also a unique something unique to this event that is that we require volunteers for, and just general helping out. Um, we also have something called well, at our events. We have something called we have been having a new practice called something that oh my god, sorry. We're doing a new practice for something called a rose store. Relatively new. It's been around for like 2 years or so at this point. Um, the rose store is a great opportunity for volunteering, and it's a way to incentivize volunteering. The rose store, it is basically a table, a little store set up run by someone, with a bunch of knickknacks and or tchotchkes or accessories, or garments, a bunch of things that us Amtgarders like. Uh, and the idea is that if you go and volunteer, if you go do something to volunteer, you get a rose coin. You can spend X amount of rose coins to get stuff at the rose store. It's a great way to incentivize volunteering, and in my opinion, a rose store is successful if it gets at least one person to volunteer that wouldn't otherwise, because then that volunteer has now tried volunteering. They might find out that they like it. They might like that rewarding feeling. They might enjoy helping out, and they might go figure out how to or do more volunteering out in the future. Um, so I think any incentive to volunteer is a good incentive. Um, if you are someone who is interested in volunteering for an event, or you are interested in getting on a bid for an event as a crat, or just like want to know what else you can do for any specific event, specific event, you can always talk to an event's autocrat. But additionally, if you want to be put in the loop for interest to be a crat in the future, you can talk to anyone on the board of directors event committee. Right now, that's currently Amanda Lane, Ben Goldstein, Christopher Blessing, Kayla Dodge, and Steph Jacob, Aylin Fuzz, Benoit Kazu, and Stefaroff. They're all lovely people, and they all love having volunteers coming and reaching out. Moving on. So next we have monarchy offices. So this is my specialty. I've held a lot of monarchy offices, primarily kingdom offices. In and out of. I've been in kingdom monarchy in some way, um, for a good amount of years, the last couple of years. So let's talk about it. Um, so monarchy members are social and business leaders, for a set period of time, with both responsibility to ensure rule adherence, and opportunity to uplift everyone in the community. First, we have the monarch. The kingdom monarch. Some of these overlap. Some of them are different between park and kingdom level. I'll explain the general description of the role, and then I'll explain how it differs between kingdom and park level if it does. So first we have the monarch. Park or kingdom level, they are your public face. They are your go-to person for as a representative of your body of people, whether that be a park or a kingdom. They are they are the go-to leader for the kingdom. They have responsibilities for giving out awards. They have ban authority. They decide who gets knighted. Um, but they're also the go-to person to just like if you need help with something and you don't know who to ask or you have a problem, the kingdom monarch is 100% a person that you can go to if you have a good relationship with them, and hopefully even if you don't. Where it can differ between park and kingdom, park monarch obviously has less people to look over. In my opinion, a park monarch does more work than a kingdom monarch, just because they're typically out there every week with people, making sure park goes well, or ensuring that that a monarchy member is there to run park. Anyone can do this, but they are also your go-to person for communicating with outsiders or mundanes who might be interested in getting into LARP, that public outreach part of it. At kingdom level, you will also, speaking from experience, at kingdom level, you will also receive a lot of messages from people you don't know, whether that's talking about awards or talking about questions or just answering questions, or someone out of kingdom making you aware of something that happened. you do a lot. You're kind of always on the clock as a kingdom monarch, just answering questions, and a lot of people do office hours for a good reason, giving a dedicated time to kingdom monarch and all the message responding. That's primarily what a kingdom monarch does is respond to messages. So speaking from experience there. um, your regent, park or kingdom level, is going to be your go-to person for the arts and sciences. They're responsible for ensuring that Dragon Masters happen, ANS competitions happen. They're there to answer questions, encourage arts and science to flourish, give avenues for that to happen. I know at RSS, our park regent for the last reign or two has done Stitch and Sip weekly Stitch and Sip conversations, which have been absolutely lovely, creating a space for crafting and a space for camaraderie in crafting. In kingdom level, the regent also has award privileges, so they don't have as many. They can't give out every award like a kingdom monarch can, but a kingdom regent can give out Order of the Rose, Smith, Lion, Dragon, Owl, Garber, and I believe some noble titles as well. They might also be able to give out Griffins. I'll have to check on that part. But I know at the very least, regents can give out all of the Order of the Flame awards and all of the Order of the Serpent awards. Next, we have the Prime Minister. Your Prime Minister is your go-to person for record keeping. They have some other responsibilities as well. They're responsible for upholding records in the kingdom. They're responsible for communicating with the park PMs to get quarterlies sent on the right time. They also run the monarch regent champion senator elections. The regent also runs the the prime minister and guildmaster of reeves and guildmaster of knight elections. Monarch, regent, champion, and senator all get elected at the same time, except senator is a little different. And then prime minister, guildmaster of reeves, and technically guildmaster of knights all run on the same cycle as well. Just 3 months on a buffer. Prime minister, park level, they're the person who you're coming to sign in, sign waivers, stuff like that, checking backs cards. At kingdom level, they are also one of the 3 ban authorities. A quick reminder of how suspensions work is the monarch can suspend or ban anyone in the kingdom with an agreement of at least the prime minister or the guildmaster of reeves. They only need to get one of those people to agree with them to ban someone, and that's how disciplinary action works. It's communication between those three parties, and the prime minister is one of those parties. The champion, in my opinion, the champion is the most different between park level and kingdom level. At park level, you're probably doing the most work. It's the most commitment out of any monarchy position, park or kingdom level. And at kingdom level, I think it's the least commitment and least responsibility out of any monarchy position. So the comparison there, the dichotomy there is very interesting. At park level, champion, you will if you are generous enough with your time to be park champion, and I appreciate anyone who does. They're the person who are responsible for making Amtgard happen at your park, making battle games happen, making any sort of on-field stuff happen, ensuring that there are things for people to do, but also a certain level of safety, and making, along with the Guildmaster of Reeves, making sure people are following the rules. But for the most part, they're the people running battle games at your park. At kingdom level, champion is much loosely. They're also responsible for maintaining a lost and found, kingdom and park level. At kingdom level, it's a little bit different. Kingdom level kind of overlaps with Guildmaster of Reeves. They're kind of just like a mini Guildmaster of Reeves. Technically, they're there to make sure everyone is safe in the kingdom, make sure everyone is, weapons are being checked, stuff like that. Just kind of like as an overseer of that kind of stuff. But apart from that, Kingdom Champion is pretty loosely defined in what they actually do. In my opinion, a good Kingdom Champion is someone who is a go-to person for interacting with whatever kingdom theme that there is. But that can vary depending on the populace's willingness to engage in the theme, and also like how relevant the theme is compared to what's happening with events. But that's a whole other conversation. The Guildmaster of Reeves is your primary Reeve, and they vary a little bit park to kingdom. At park level, they are encourage people to get Reeves certified, keep track of who is Reeves certified. Um, uh, they ensure that every battle of the game has a Reeve. If something doesn't have a Reeve, they are the go-to Reeve for that. But also a go-to person for rules clarifications as well. So if you are a more rules inclined person, GMR, Park GMR, Kingdom GMR might be a great first office for you. At Kingdom level, the Guildmaster of Reeves is the person who writes and maintains the Reeves and Corpora tests. For any monarchy position, you need to pass a Reeves and Corpora test at 75% or greater. They're pretty easy open book tests, but they are to ensure that everyone in those positions has a base level understanding of the structure of Amtgard, or at least our kingdom. Um, the Guildmaster of Reeves is, like I said before, another one of the disciplinary authorities in the kingdom. Finally, we have the senator. This is the newest position. This is a relatively new position for the kingdom. Our first senator was me last year, and it's a little bit different than the other roles. First of all, it is not a 6-month commitment; it is a 1-year commitment, beginning and ending on fall coronation. The kingdom senator, and it's only at kingdom level. Senator is only at kingdom level. They are the person who is the official representative for the kingdom for the Amtgard International Circle of Monarchs. That is the collection of every representative slash monarch for every kingdom in Amtgard. So it's the only monarchy position that is relevant for inter-kingdom communication and communication with Amtgard International. Not every kingdom has a senator. Some kingdoms have a monarch, just like we used to. It is a by kingdom decision. But it is designed to kind of take a little bit of the workload off the monarch. So the monarch can just focus on what is in the kingdom, and the senator can focus on what's happening outside of the kingdom, and what's happening like with any sort of uh, format or structure changes for Amtgard as a whole, and communicating that and having that dialogue between Amtgard International and our populace. Keeping that dialogue and keeping that pathway of information flowing is very, very important. But yeah, if you're interested in running for monarchy, the only requirements are that you're 18 years of age or older. You have residency. You are dues paid. You declare for office by the cutoff date, and you have a 75% or greater on the raising Corpora tests. Like I said before, some of them have a lower commitment than others. Some of them are lower or higher commitment than others. If you are interested in any more of the monarchy roles, or how to get started with monarchy, park monarchy, or kingdom monarchy, I highly encourage you to seek me out afterwards, and I can tell you how to get started. Moving on, I'm going to take a little sip of water real quick. One sec. All right. So moving on, we have non-monarchy positions. These are usually covered in the Corpora, and there's a bunch of different non-monarchy positions. But I'm going to go over a few of them here. First, we have our Corpora Reps. Every single park has a Corpora Rep. I believe for RSS it is Rel, and our Kingdom Corpora Rep is currently Steph. They're the person who supports corporal proposals. They are the person who you go to submit a corporal proposal, and your park corpora rep is responsible for communicating those or sending those corpora proposals to the to all of the corpora reps and the kingdom corpora rep to get added to an election. They're also responsible for ensuring that people are knowledgeable about the corpora. If you have questions about the corpora, they're your go-to person to answer those questions. They're also appointed by the park or kingdom monarch. They are indefinite to the point that the representative wants to hold the position. So if you're interested in becoming a corpora rep, you would need to either it's a good thing to make that known, just in case anyone wants to your current corpora rep wants to have a break. But it is just something that is straight up appointed appointed by your monarch. And yes, Sephiroth says, and they also help edit them before the proposals go to voting. That is also something the corpora reps do. Rules rep. This is also an appointed position. Our current kingdom, and typically something that's only that's only at kingdom level. Our current kingdom rules representative is Benoit. They are the go-to person for rules clarification and rules interpretation for our kingdom. They are responsible also for keeping a gauge on our player bases, like how we feel about the rules, what we think might want to change about the rules. Currently, the rules reps are doing work in developing V8 further. Um, and those kinds of decisions are all, and those kinds of conversations are all things rules reps do. Um, it's a lot of it's a lot of, it requires a lot of knowledge about a lot of upfront knowledge about the rules, but it can be very rewarding to be part of that rules development process, especially if you have that kind of game design mind. The Herald, this is actually something I recently learned about. Apparently, it's in our Corpora. It's someone who is the monarch can optionally appoint, and have a dedicated person for announcing things, basically like a hype craft for the reign. Someone who's helping people get engaged, helping people, making announcements, stuff like that. Typically when I'm monarch, I prefer doing those kinds of things myself. But sometimes if you don't have the sort of if you like the job, if it's a way that that can be, if it's something that can help you as a monarch, then it is an option for you. Um, uh, yeah, that's another thing. A herald can also be used at events for being just a loud voice. Sometimes you need to either for announcing awards or for making announcements, gathering people, having as a monarch, having someone with a loud voice near you, or having one yourself is a very valuable tool. um, Next, we have the Class Guildmasters. The Class Guildmasters. It's in my opinion, it's a pretty what you make of it role, but they can be very fulfilling, depending they can be as fulfilling as the person wants to make it. Class Guildmasters are someone who is responsible. There's one for each class, and they are voted on year terms on each KSM. Uh, and they are people who are responsible for ensuring people are playing those classes correctly, encouraging sharing knowledge about that class, advocating for their class like for rules changes and stuff. But for the most part, they are your face for that class in the kingdom, and they are someone who is ideally starting dialogues and answering questions about those classes as well. Um, Guildmaster of Masks is another appointed position. These are all in our Corpora, by the way. These are all things you'll see reading through our Corpora. Guildmaster of Masks is sometimes appointed by the monarch to help with RP communication about RP, especially if there's a theme. If sometimes a monarch isn't as roleplay oriented, and that's totally fine, and they want to appoint someone to help them with that aspect of leading a LARP group, which I think can be really valuable. Excuse me. Next to the Reeves Guild, if you have passed the Reeves test, congratulations, you are part of the Reeves Guild. Anyone who passed the Reeves test are the people who are qualified to Reeve in the kingdom. Ideally, you should pass a Reeves test before you Reeve in general, but it's a by field, by person thing. In practice. I still encourage everyone everywhere to take the Reeves test, though. It's a great benchmark and a great foundation for knowledge of the rules and a knowledge of how the game functions. But yeah, just reading a battle game is a great way to just volunteer. It's like taking the Reeves test, volunteering to read a battle game, taking some of that weight off of your park champion's shoulders is a great way to start volunteering. Um, does anyone have any questions about any of the monarchy or non-monarchy positions? I'm happy to open the floor to anyone who has any questions about it. All right, no questions. If you want to get started with a monarchy or non-monarchy position, talk to your current monarchy, talk to your monarch, talk to your prime minister or your regent to find out when the next election is and what positions are going to be available to declare for, and then do some research, read the Corpora, take the Reeves and Corpora test, and declare by the cutoff date, and pass a vote of confidence or win in a contested election, and boom, you're a monarchy member for the next 6 months or a year if you're a senator. Moving on from that, we have the board of directors. I am currently a member at large of the board of directors. This can be and this can be a kind of a daunting subject sometimes. Um, That's true. We do need to get a new. We'll need to get a new reusing corpora test set up after our new Kingdom GMR gets settled in. Um, so the board of directors are sometimes, it can be a little daunting thinking about the board of directors. It sounds very official, sounds very black tie, but in reality, the board of directors are just a small group of very passionate people that want to see this game function. They want to keep this game working. They want to make sure everyone's still able to have fun. When you're working with groups of this scale that require and with the types of events that we put on, that requires some people that are very dedicated to keeping a business running, and making sure we are functioning as a proper nonprofit. If you don't know, Capital Games Incorporated is the name of the corporation that the program Crystal Groves functions under. And like I said, it's just a small group of dedicated individuals who are there who have volunteered their time to making sure the business end of events and the kingdom can function properly, so that we can all play Amtgard. They also make sure our legal stuff is in check. On the board of directors, that we have our board officers. If you'll pardon me 1 second while I get some other notes in order. So you have the president. They're your kind of like professional communicator. They're the person who are organizing meetings, calling emergency meetings. They're your go-to person for answering questions about the BOD. But they are there to communicate with the board members and communicate with the populace of what the BOD is doing, and structuring meetings accordingly. Next, we have the vice president. They are the person who are your go-to person for board development. They are the person who handles onboarding, offboarding of the BOD, stuff like that. Your secretary is a person who's responsible for maintaining minutes, typically for BOD meetings, maintaining minutes, keeping records, stuff like that. The treasurer, person who is handling finance for the board and finance for CGI, and then member of large, which is what I am. Person to be there and hit quorum and be a representative, and be a representative for the populace and share my votes. Besides our official officers, we have the trustees, program liaisons, and we have committees. Trustees are people who are there for record retention and performance evaluation. So they're the people who are there trustees exist to maintain a certain amount of institutional memory for the board of directors. And they also serve as a sort of check and balance system for our members at large and for our other officers. The program liaisons are two people that are voted on by the populace. By the way, when I say program just is in the context of the BOD, the word program is interchangeable with the word kingdom. Crystal Groves and the game that we play and the monarch, they are all the program. The monarch is technically the program director as far as the board of directors goes. So those words can be used interchangeably most of the time. The program liaisons are people voted on by the program, and the BOD members are also voted on by the program in order to represent the program, a specific two people to represent the program's best interest and to basically represent your average player's best interest in Amtgard to the BOD. Finally, we have the committees. There are a bunch of different committees in the board of directors. We have the board development committee, the finance committee, the events committee, the Corpora committee. All of these have a space to speak in meetings and have dedicated the web development committee. All of these committees have roles within the BOD and exist to help, and are not always consisted of just BOD members. You can be on a committee without being part of the BOD proper. And they're all here to make sure certain aspects of our game function properly. So yeah, it's BOD's totally on the business side of things. The BOD and its members lead the organization to success. with care around policies and finances. Additionally, BOD meetings are open to the public. Whenever there's a BOD meeting, you will be informed on the Kingdom page that it is coming up, and you are welcome to join and listen in. You can also request messaging. You also have messaging privileges. You can share you're more than welcome to share your thoughts at BOD meetings. And any member of the Kingdom can also request that items be added for discussion onto a BOD agenda. So you might have more power than you think as just a single Amtgarder. It's really important that everyone has their voice heard, because it's in reality we're all volunteers in some way trying to make this game great, and trying to keep our hobby that we like functioning. That's all the BOD does. Um, Next, we have interstitial opportunities. So interstitial opportunities are just all the little things that hold the group together. You might not notice it every now and then, but there are just a bunch of little things that you can do as a potential volunteer, to just help out that little bit. Um, they might seem small, but they're approachable and incredibly valuable. Um, we have stuff like the park treasurer. This is someone who has access to to a park bank account for deposits, access to a debit card for withdrawals, and the PayPal for other payments. The store. I'm going to do the storage unit liaison last because there's a little bit more to say about that one. Public outreach, just like being someone who has a good spiel ready to describe what Amtgard is, and being able to go up to people who might be interested in talking about Amtgard. That bridging that gap between people is and spreading Amtgard through word of mouth is how we grow as a game. Class teaching, what I'm doing right now, just like getting on the Kingdom. If you just want to teach a class on the Kingdom Discord about a subject that you're knowledgeable about, it's super valuable, because sharing knowledge and growing together is how we grow as a community. And scroll and gift making. We have a bunch of really talented people that we want to properly thank and properly lift up and celebrate. And that require and there's a certain level of artistry that requires, and making scrolls for awards, or belts for new knights and stuff like that. Um, and then we have the storage unit liaison. Storage unit liaison is someone who is responsible for maintaining the storage unit, and ferrying stuff from the storage unit to events usually. Right now, our Kingdom storage unit is in Stafford, which is right near Fredericksburg. And a great way to help out at events, especially if you are from any park that is Munin Mist or farther north. Typically, you will be if you are from any of those parks. Typically, going to the winery where we have our events passes by within 2 miles of the storage unit. So typically, if you're going to an event, or most people going to an event will be very near the storage unit at some point on their journey. So reaching out and saying, "Hey, if there's anything that needs to be taken from the storage unit to the event site, I have some extra space in my car, and I'm happy to bring some stuff." That is something that would be that is something that I'm sure our storage unit liaison, Elizabeth, would thank you immensely for, and Stepharoth as well. Um, like those small little things that you can do to help out just can save people a world of trouble. Um, uh, but yeah, that's really all I have. I'd be happy to open the floor for you guys to talk about any other questions that might have come up, or if you are wondering how you can get started volunteering for something that I didn't talk about, or if you have anything to add as far as volunteering at events goes. I think volunteering is super important. I think it's super rewarding as well. And without it, we wouldn't have Amtgard as a whole. Everything that you see happening in Amtgard happens because of a volunteer, and it's something that is immensely cherished in our community. Um, uh, so yeah, if there's and I will also go ahead and link the, there's something that I wanted to link to you guys. So this is something that our lovely Radiant Sephiroth, one of the authors of this class, made a couple years ago. This, I'm going to post it in Classroom 4. This is an event bidding guide. If you are interested in bidding for an event, or you just want more information on events in general, please check that out. There's a lot of really, really valuable information from someone like Sephiroth, who has had an immense amount of experience and has shown an immense amount of dedication for creating some really, really stellar events for our kingdom. So yeah, if there's anything that anyone wants to add, please speak up now. Otherwise, I'm pretty much done. I hope everyone has had a good time here.
Thank you, Soup. You did a great job.
Thanks. We did it.
Thank you, Soup. Thank
Thank you. Thank